Look at this. October 26, 2025. Bernabeu, Santiago. Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappé score. After winning El Clasico, Real Madrid surpasses Barcelona by 5 points to take the lead in La Liga. The decision was swift and harsh. It was said that this Barca was falling. They were defeated by PSG and humiliated by Sevilla in the Clasico. And all signs pointed to a downward trend. However, that loss, which appeared to be Barcelona's demise, had the exact opposite effect. Because Hansi Flick's monster awoke that evening, the humiliating Barcelona has returned. Barca has had a flawless La Liga run since losing that Clasico. 7 victories out of 7. 21 goals and 21 points out of 21 opportunities. This team is generating a lot of noise since they consistently improve and become more deadly each week. There has been so much commotion that Barcelona has now scored 100 league goals in 2025. It's the 9th time in the club's history, but it's only the 2nd time without Messi, the other being in 1999. Something inside this team has radically altered after the setback at the Bernabeu, which plummeted Hansi Flick's Barcelona into 2nd place, 5 points behind Real Madrid, commanded by Xabi Alonso. A 3-1 victory over LJ and then a 4-2 victory over. But the arrival of only the 2nd coach in history to win a sextuple quietly marked the beginning of a new era. Few people could have predicted that, in just 12 months, Barcelona would not only be back among Europe's elite but would also be one of the most talked about teams in world football with an almost identical team and just one significant addition. Danny Hansi Flick was the obvious name of the mastermind behind this comeback. The German bus had a very obvious message when it landed in Barcelona. Have faith in the academy and increase the team's physical level to a whole new level. Despite being fully aware of the club's financial constraints, Flick was astounded by La Masia's caliber and publicly reiterated this in each press conference. His belief in youthful potential was evident from the start, as he gave youngsters like Marc Bernal and Marc Casido genuine opportunities. Despite significant challenges including the Euros, the Olympic Games, a disrupted preseason for numerous players, and injuries to important players like Pedri and Giroud, Flick transformed Barcelona from the first minute. Nevertheless, it was evident from the first La Liga game that this Barcelona was unique. The DNA of Flick was quick, aggressive football regardless of the score. They will be the only team in La Liga to accomplish that feat this year. This is the scary bit, though. This club has made progress in both attack and defense, which is where it matters most. Barcelona has at last achieved stability under Hansi Flick. In addition to keeping Barcelona 4 points clear at the top of La Liga, the 2-0 victory over Osasuna at home was noteworthy since it was their first clean sheet in 6 games. For the 4th consecutive game, Flick has now committed to a fixed back four that includes Jules Koundé, Pau Barsi, Gerard Martin, and Alejandro Balde. After weeks of testing after Íñigo Martínez left in the summer, that continuity has aided in the development of chemistry. With Ronald Araujo out and Andreas Christensen no longer part of the long-term plan, Gerard Martin's transition from left-back to center-back with Cubars has been particularly crucial. Everything down and starting anew has been added by the midfield. When Xabi Alonso arrived, the project was based on long-term order, control, and structure. Additionally, everything appeared flawless on paper. Barcelona had strong but unglamorous reinforcements. Marcus Rashford, Joan Garcia, and Rooney Bargi. Essential items, but nothing that caused a stir in the market. In the meantime, Madrid achieved great success. Dean Huyson, Alvaro Carrera, Franco Mastanto, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gonzalo Garcia from Castilla, and Xabi Alonso, the guy who had just pulled off the miracle at Leverkusen, winning the Bundesliga without fail and making Florian Wirtz a worldwide celebrity. It appeared to be the ideal complement to the Bernabeu. It seemed to work at first. With 10 men, Madrid defeated Pachuca and crushed Salzburg in a good club World Cup, make contact with the pass. 4-2, Lenny Jr. Returns at easily defeating Juventus, effectively managing Dortmund. However, the instant they encountered a truly elite side in form, the ghost reappeared. They were mercilessly destroyed by PSG under Luis Enrique. A vicious 4-0. Madrid's league start was promising despite this. 15 goals scored in 6 straight victories with just 3 goals given up. In the same run, Barcelona won 5 and drew 1. This Madrid was superior. This Barca was even terrible. But now for the painful realities. As the 2025 season draws to a close, Barcelona leads La Liga by 4 points over Real Madrid. Due to injuries and ongoing controversy around his high defensive line, Hansi Flick's first half of the season has been tumultuous. The league as a whole believes that this season's Barcelona is not as good as the previous one. Barcelona has 43 points and a plus 29 goal differential after 17 games in 2025 to 2026, with 49 goals scored and 20 given up. They had 38 points and a plus 31 goal differential at the same time in the previous season. After losing Atletico in La Liga, they are now 5 points behind Real Madrid. The project was questioned by many, but Barca responded. They repaired themselves and turned merciless in domestic competition, winning the Winter Championship in the first half of 2025. Numbers that, at the beginning of the season, any Barcelona supporter would have gladly signed for. With 7 consecutive victories in December, the turnaround was spectacular. Barcelona had a 4-point lead going into the Christmas break thanks to 5 of them in La Liga and Real Madrid's difficulties. Compared to the same point last season, that is 14 points greater. Their amazing home form is largely responsible for this disparity. The Catalans have reached 27 points after winning all 9 of their home league games thus far, as opposed to merely 15 points a year earlier. Additionally, Cambace's first half of the season has not been easy. Home wins in 3 different stadiums with the same result. It's interesting to see that, despite hard-fought wins over Real Sociedad 2-1, Elche 3-1, and Girona 2-1, Montjuic has once again been the place where Flick's team suffered the most. At this stage in the previous season, Barcelona had already suffered 3 losses against Atletico Madrid, Las Palmas, and Leonese, with convincing victories over Athletic Club 4-0, Alaves 3-1, Atletico Madrid 3-1, and Osasuna 2-0. Returning to the camp has been a big relief. Add to that their impressive performances at the Johan K Stadium, when they defeated Valencia 6-0 and 3-0. The figures are accurate. Compared to the previous season, there were 14 more points, 6 more goals scored, and 1 fewer goal given up. Flick has undoubtedly improved the team's La Liga performance. However, against direct competitors is where Barcelona has appeared more vulnerable and where questions about their football still exist. The losses to Chelsea in the Champions League, PSG, Applause, and Real Madrid in La Liga demonstrate that if Barca intends to compete for every trophy, the German coach still has work to do, particularly when Europe calls once more. Despite severe injuries, this Barcelona team has demonstrated an amazing capacity to bounce back from setbacks. As he did last season, Hansi Flick has once again found a perfect solution by making the most of his resources and encouraging each player to give their best effort for Barcelona. For the first time in 5 games, Barcelona maintained a clean sheet. It is not a coincidence. A declaration. This is Hansi Flick converting instability into structure and correcting issues in real time. Frenkie de Jong is being secretly replaced by Eric Garcia. It's also not a coincidence. Eric had to move ahead and work with Pedri to liberate densely populated center zones in opposition to Osuna's deep bunker-style build. It was obvious what his job was. Help isolate Rashford, but especially Lamine Yamal in one-on-one situations, by breaking pressure lines, moving the ball swiftly, and continuously shifting play outside. Additionally, he didn't appear at all out of place. Directly resulted in clear opportunities for Barcelona. This was more than just neat recycling. It was distributed with purpose, timeliness, and intent under duress. The type of midfield labor that preserves transitions, maintains a high line, and continues to feed the attackers in hazardous areas. Barcelona consistently demonstrates that their attacking prowess is a system rather than an isolated incident. There is no longer any room for disagreement with the numbers. The most varied attacking team in the top 5 leagues in Europe is now Hansi Flick's squad. As the only La Liga side with 4 different players scoring 5 goals or more, Barcelona is a blatant example of a coordinated, unpredictable attack that is nearly hard to stop. With 11 goals, Ferran Torres is at the top of the internal scoring lists, demonstrating his change since Flick had complete faith in him as a striker. Robert Lewandowski, who has 8 goals, is just behind him. Despite not being a surefire starter from wide areas, he is nevertheless influential in the box. With 6 objectives, Lamine and Rafa both offer consistent solutions and various threats. Additionally, Yamal and Rashford should receive particular attention within this offensive ecology. This season, Marcus Rashford has already provided 9 assists against Valencia, Getafe, Edo, Real Sociedad, PSG, Real Madrid, Celta, and in track. In addition, he scored 6 goals against Olympiacos and Newcastle, as well as goals against Sevilla and Elche, and the image is unmistakable. So far, there have been 15 direct goal contributions. After going through a really challenging time in his career, he had to adjust to a new club, a new system, and a new language. Barcelona has provided him with the ideal setting. Additionally, Rashford is quietly developing into a key offensive component. In contrast, Lamine Yamal's season has been an emotional roller coaster. The figures are exceptional. From the commotion before to Aleko following his remarks with a bye and a subpar performance at the Bernabeu to the reaction of a genuine leader who put the team on his back. 18 goals in 18 games. He has made 9 goal contributions in 10 games after coming back from injury. Yamal's 2 assists versus Athletic Club demonstrate his ability to make decisions throughout games when healthy. With just 15 games and 11 starts in just 933 minutes, he has already surpassed his highest prior league total with 13 goals and 1 assist, with no penalties. That equates to a goal every 85 minutes. Superior productivity. In just 2 complete seasons with Barcelona, Varejão's form has propelled him into the top 50 all-time La Liga scorers. He has scored 57 goals in 177 games since joining in 2021 to 2022. But his latest surge, 32 goals in the last 64 games, all under Flick, is what truly sticks out. Every time Rafinha plays, he transforms the team. Barcelona is very difficult to defeat when the Brazilian is healthy and playing. Barca has only lost once versus Chelsea while Rafinha was on the field, and he only played 23 minutes in that game. Despite this, he has contributed 9 goals in 13 games, and his impact goes well beyond statistics. Intensity, leadership, and persistent danger. However, Fermin Lopez is the one player Real Madrid and the league as a whole should really be afraid of. He is performing as the team's top player. 4 assists and 7 goals. Between the lines, pure pandemonium. He runs nonstop. His ability to get inside the box is deadly, and his positional understanding is exceptional. Fermin embodies La Masia's vision of a modern midfielder who combines relentless energy, aggressive pressing, and direct offensive impact. Naturally, Lewandowski should never be taken lightly. The Polish striker still possesses the talent and instinct to decide games on his own, despite an uneven season. All of this explains why, with 49 goals, Barcelona is presently the second highest scoring team in Europe's top 5 divisions, only surpassed by Bayern Munich with 51. Indeed, Real Madrid should be afraid of Barcelona's individual skill and Hans Flick's tactical acumen. However, Xabi Alonso should be more concerned about something more serious and perilous. These people are now more than just celebrities, they are developing into a cohesive team. At that point, Barcelona started to get frightening. We now need to discuss the main distinctions between Xabi Alonso and Hansi Flick. At this point, it is impossible to ignore the difference between Real Madrid and Barcelona. Giving the players power was Xabi Alonso's first issue. Xabi started Vinicius again in the very next game following the altercation with him in Aleko. From the outside, it appeared like he gave in to player pressure and did not stick to his own judgment. Xabi has had trouble controlling the egos in the star-studded Real Madrid locker room thus far, although it is never simple. Carlo Ancelotti always had good control over his connection with the team. Some people see Xabi Alonso to be overly coaching and inadequately managing. Thus, Hansi Flick's condition has taken a different turn. Barcelona is no longer the team that makes excuses. Not the kickoff time, not the referee, and not the field. Flick trusted La Masia once more and reinstated discipline, and returned a team that possesses the personality this club needs to compete and win. His ability to strike a balance between confidence and discipline, no experiments, no victim mentality, and no defeatist speeches, is his greatest asset. Resignation is not an option at Barcelona. There are no coaches' favorites or protected players. Regardless of age, status, or name, the finest players compete brutally. Pedri and other players have publicly stated that the team trains harder and more effectively, and the entire 90 minutes are now spent at that level of physical exertion. Bar's current form is based in part on Flick's incredibly rigid workout regimen. Xabi's second issue is number 2. Playing Asensio at right back without touching the undroppables in order to stay put. Jude Bellingham would be benched if Valverde made Argila the creative brains. These choices at Barcelona convey a strong message. Discipline cannot be compromised. Jules Koundé and Iñaki Peña discovered that the hard way last season. Marcus Rashford and Rafinha have also been sanctioned this year, and it is effective. Players that are dropped typically return with increased focus, hunger, and sharpness. The enigma, in my opinion, sums it up quite nicely. At the end of the season, if you are ahead, it is impossible for them to beat you. In my opinion, these are victories that are very important and give the team confidence to continue adding points. We must concentrate on ourselves, and that is the most important thing in the end. If we do our job, we don't have to worry about the others. Allah, I believe we are playing better games than we used to, and the more points we score, the better. There are 3 genuine prospects for Enrich, and it is clear that Gonzalo Garcia Mbappe is untouchable. Mbappe is going into space. Kebab, but it's difficult to comprehend why Enrich hasn't played many official minutes or why Gonzalo Garcia, the Club World Cup top scorer, isn't used as a genuine number 9 when he does play. Given the struggles of other attackers, however, Flick has demonstrated that rotations are effective. The team in Europe with the most players who have scored 5 or more goals is Barcelona. Madrid is the complete opposite. Vinícius, the second highest scorer, has only 5 goals, betraying his own style, whereas Mbappe has 26. This could be the most crucial problem. Xabi's Madrid put up a fierce fight at the Club World Cup. They now take a deeper seat and try to counter. The identity that we witnessed at Bayer Leverkusen is still not installed by Xabi Alonso. Players are less inclined to adhere to stringent directions in this unusual setting. However, nobody really understands what Real Madrid is attempting to become midway through the season. Rather than hesitating, Flick has adjusted. The double pivot and extremely high line from the previous season developed into a small triangle that dominates, creates, and protects. He made adjustments without losing his composure. 5. A shattered changing area. Xabi Alonso's team is not cohesive. Vinícius confronts him in public. Valverde challenges the strategies. The group appears to be divided. Lacks a common belief, culture, or concept. Barcelona is the complete opposite. Backing Flick is the outcome. The injuries are healing. Leaders who publicly support and defend the coach include Rafinha. It's an obvious message. Real Madrid, CHBY, and Alonso have a lot to worry about. The ceiling in this Barcelona is still fairly high. Hansi Flick is now conducting a master class on how to oversee, manage, and elevate a giant. Like the video, subscribe to Kickster Facts, and turn on notifications for real football facts you won't hear anywhere else.